Good morning and welcome back to the Livingston Parish News Morning Show. My name is McHugh David, publisher and editor of the news. Appreciate you joining us this morning. If you're watching this live, thank you for that. If you're watching this later, you can at www.livingstonparishnews.com/podcast. We have audio and video versions there. Both iterations recommend the audio, the heavily edited audio, so you don't have to look at me. But we do appreciate you joining us this morning. Thank you for that. It's pretty easy going this morning in terms of traffic, relatively clear. It's not often I see that when I open up our traffic report and traffic map. So only some minor delays on 190 after you get over the bridge. Other than that, you're looking at a relatively clear commute if you are going to Baton Rouge at all. So good news for the Tuesday morning here. It's currently 68 degrees, 77 is your high, so it's going to get warm. However, we're looking at some evening thunderstorms that might bring through some cooler weather, not cold. It won't get cold until later in the week when we'll get a cold front coming through that's going to bring some lower temperatures. But for right now, going to get up to 77 today before that rain tonight, bringing through some really cold weather. Some cold weather with really cold weather coming later in the week. So keep your eyes open for that. Or you don't have to dress warm today. It's going to get warmer. Just be on the lookout for some rough weather this evening. It looks like most people are going to be at home anyway. Excuse me. The census, as we've talked about before, has visited the Livingston Parish Council. They visited the Denham Springs Council last night to discuss trying to find some volunteer workers. They've already started a public outreach movement. They've advertised with us and several media outlets in the area. Now they're looking for workers. They're looking for labor folks from Evangeline Parish to Tangipahoa Parish. They need 10,500 people. $15 an hour is the bare minimum. You're looking at working from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. daily. You're looking at a few hours on Sunday as well, trying to catch people when they're at home. Going to try to be, the first wave of workers are going to be spreading, the word of please, fill out your census and send it in. The next wave of workers, probably after the first of the year, are going to be pushing for folks to actually answer it. They'll at that point they will probably have it in their mailbox or will have received it. Of course, they'll be showing up with another copy if you just picked it up and threw it away. Please remember that filling out your census is extremely important, especially in terms of getting money here. Those responses help us a lot. How many elderly we have here depends on, special health care needs, that kind of thing. The number of students we have or the number of kids we have. There might be a problem with getting kids to school. They might not know that. We might have, there's 27,000 kids enrolled in Livingston Parish schools. There's 3,000 kids enrolled elsewhere. And then there's 2,500 kids that aren't going to school at all. They don't know anything about that. So please fill out your census. It's also determinant on how much money you get in, say, a post-disaster scenario. Part of the proposition that the state sent off to the federal government in terms of disaster recovery funds was this is how many people live in the area. Now, if we're only operating on 70% accuracy, who knows how many people actually live here, and who knows how much more money we could have gotten for disaster relief, large infrastructure projects, that kind of thing. So please fill out your census. Get your neighbor to fill out their census. Get your family to fill out their census. It's very, very, very important that your census gets filled out and sent back into the federal government. So please remember to do that. And if you're looking for a job, visit 2020census.gov. And you can go to the jobs tab and it will tell you everything you need to know about signing up for enrollment. So please check that out. The Denham meeting was last night, as we discussed. Two things on the agenda that kind of stuck out. There are more hazard mitigation grant program homes going through. 12 more this year. So they did 10 last year inside Denham Springs, about $1.2 million. This year they're looking at 12. It's about $1.6 million. The city's not on the hook for any of that. It is a agreement between the homeowner, who has to supply a match, and the grant funding comes from FEMA. The city simply facilitates the program at the local level to make sure that these folks aren't having to deal with FEMA the whole time, and things don't move in a good direction quickly. So 12 more homes at 1.6 million, and you're looking at 2 acquisitions and 10 elevations. Now, those 2 acquisitions, it's important to remind you that those acquisitions will be removed from the tax rolls without a movement of Congress. There will never be able to be any kind of construction on that land ever again. So it's interesting when these acquisitions go through to see what kind of places we will get here in Denham Springs and in the parish, because this is going on in the parish and Walker, that will turn into green space and never be developed again. So that's coming. The other thing, and this is part of the flood as well, so a lot of flood discussion last night. The city has established a board of home appeals. Their job is to be part of the condemnation process, which is long and arduous, but you're dealing with individual property rights. So it's a very gray area. It's very touch and go. So you have to go through a very long process of communication with property owners. And then you also have to include this board of appeals where they can come and express if they're unhappy with the decision that the council made, and will express, okay, well, we're going to fix the home, or we'll demolish the home. You don't do it. So that they're getting to that point now where they've communicated with many property owners inside Denham Springs, the city has, and now they're getting to the point where they're going to start laying down designations as to whether or not they're going to condemn certain properties or not. If they do, they do vote to do so, because it has to be a vote of the council by recommendation of the mayor. Then these homeowners or property owners have 5 days to appeal that process and come before the board. Now, some of these have already been designated as condemned. The first meeting of the Board of Home Appeals will be December 9th at 4 p.m. at the Denham Springs new City Hall, which renovations have also have begun. So last night the whole meeting was wedged into the very small courtroom. So it was quite interesting. But please keep that in mind. If you do happen to own property that has been designated as condemned or blighted, you need to be paying attention to your mail. You might want to reach out to the city to see if you are on the initial list. We are waiting for City Building Inspector Rick Foster to send us the list of the 10 properties that they are focused on first, most of which, actually I think all of which, are homes that flooded in the Great Flood of 2016 and have not even been touched or remediated. So things that might infringe on health, safety, and welfare, and that they're trying to move forward with on at least, maybe if they get the homeowner into this situation, they'll do something. So that'll be coming up in 2 weeks, December 9th, 4 p.m., first gathering of the Board of Home Appeals. Now, there are 5 board members. There are no terms. They are on an as-needed basis. So if there's ever any appeals to that process, they will meet. Otherwise, again, no terms. The Livingston Parish DMV, the central office, is still closed today. They will. They're not sure if they're going to get open before Thanksgiving or not. They're still having trouble getting their software back up and running. However, we are told that some rudimentary things can be done at Walker's OMV and probably Denham's OMV. But if it's anything critical, you'll have to go to Baton Rouge or wait until Livingston's open. At this point, looking like next week, but it might not be. It might be tomorrow. There was a fire in Killian last night, or 2 nights ago, yesterday morning. It was roughly about 3:30 in the morning. It claimed the lives of two animals, 2 dogs, and the owner suffered major burns. They are waiting to investigate the cause of that fire. It was in a double wide near Killian. Fire Protection District 2 responded to that. Tonight at 7 p.m. there is going to be a community meeting at the Fire Protection District 5 headquarters, which is next to Gravity Drainage District 1, which is across Highway 190 from the Denham Springs Walker branch of the library. If you don't know where any of that is, let me describe it this way. It is on the south side of the roundabout at 190 and Eden Church Road. I know a lot of people know about the roundabout. The community meeting is based around a new subdivision that is coming at the corner of Dunn Road and Lockhart. Also, there's a roundabout coming there. The development, they are trying to put roughly 70 homes on about 25 acres of land. And there's concerns about drainage impact, traffic impact, that kind of thing. Of course, both of those processes will go through the parish as the subdivision moves along. It's important to remember that this subdivision has not been approved. The preliminary plat, which is just the beginning of the process, is coming up at planning and the planning meeting for the parish, which is next week. And from there, it will go to the council. It also has to go through, as mentioned, those traffic impact and drainage impact studies. And of course, both planning and the council work with developers and local gravity drainage districts to try to figure out if they have a proposed drainage method and they feel like, they ask gravity drainage, what if they did it this way? And they said that would be better. They're going to push them to do that. Of course, if they're not asking for waivers, or anything of that nature, and they pass the impact studies, that's when things start to get problematic legislatively for the parish council. Not a whole lot of things they can do at that point. So it'll be interesting to see where this goes at. If the preliminary plat is passed in planning, it's a lot of P's, and then it will go to the parish council and to see what they do with it. And then, of course, they'll have to wait for the drainage impact and traffic impact study. Now, if they do not pass those impact studies, they can request that the final plan, after they fix anything they have for those impact studies, come back to the parish council. But as we saw with Premier Concrete, most of those problems get handled by the administration, not the council. So it will be interesting to see what those folks have to say tonight at this meeting. Again, that's at 7 p.m. at Fire Protection District 5. They're talking about subdivision regulations. They're also talking specifically about this new subdivision that is proposed at the corner of Dunn Road and Lockhart. So keep that in mind. The Doyle Tournament, which is become a Thanksgiving staple, is ongoing at Doyle High School. Lots of action going on. William Weathers and Rodney Arman passing that off back and forth. You can check those scores and results out at www.livingstonparishnews.com/sports. Holden Swimming was 12th in their state meet. Denham Springs was 20th and Live Oak was 16th. So congratulations to those teams. You can read about those folks at www.livingstonparishnews.com/sports. Finally, 24 Livingston Parish students at Louisiana Tech were, I won't even say they were honored with the Dean and President's list for making over a 3.0 GPA and being involved in certain activities around the campus. You can look at that list, www.livingstonparishnews.com/living. Thank you, David Gray, for chasing that information down. One last time with your traffic and weather. I try to do a little better with the weather this time. So your traffic's relatively clear today. Doesn't look like a whole lot of people are heading into Baton Rouge for work, kind of getting into that holiday spirit. Relatively clear heading in. As mentioned, I don't see that clear of a map usually when I open up our traffic report. The weather is currently 63 degrees. It's going to get up to 77 sometime around midday, so it is going to get warm. No need to stay in warm clothing all day. It is going to rain tonight, about a 60% chance of rain, bringing a low of 64 overnight. Going to cool off for the next couple of days and get kind of back up to warm, and then on Friday, expect some rain to come through and cool it off significantly, much like we've been experiencing with those mid 60s during the day, 40s, high 30s during the night. So that will be on its way. One last time, my name is McHugh David, publisher and editor of the news. Appreciate you joining us this morning for the Livingston Parish News Morning Show. Want to remind folks that tomorrow will be our last show of the week. There will be no show on Thursday or Friday. We will be back in the booth Monday, however, to kind of roll in the new December week. So we look forward to seeing you then. Of course, I will be back in the booth tomorrow to talk about this meeting that happened tonight, kind of wrap up some of the things that we had going on during the week, and then to bid you a happy Thanksgiving and adieu. Please remember that you can check these shows out after the fact if you can't catch them live at www.livingstonparishnews.com/podcast. We are also on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, and YouTube. You can also check us out online. We do have an app, and we are once a week in print in Thursdays. One last time, McHugh David, publisher and editor, signing off this morning. Hope you have a great day, and happy early Thanksgiving. See you tomorrow.